Thank you very much, David. The work I will present today is work in progress, and it's also a community study, so all the mycologists that you see listed here will be involved and contribute new data. This is Psiza vesiculosa, which is a type of the genus Psiza and of the class. Psitomycetes are characterized by asci that open with a small lid-like structure, the operculum. It's also the earliest diverging lineage within the Psitomycotina, together with Obeliomycetes. As Joey Spatafora showed yesterday, this is now supported by genomes. The ascomata are apothecia, or are closed structures of apothecia, such as in the truffle or truffle-like forms. The group is very diverse in morphology, both in shape and colors, and they range in size from less than 0.5 millimeter and up to 30 centimeter. The smallest Psitomycetes is just a single ascus, a species in the genus Elutoascus. Asexual morphs has been reported in the class and described in several genera, but overall the knowledge about the asexual morph is very limited. And in many species the spores do not germinate in culture. And most of the data I will show today are sequences that are derived from DNA that are extracted from apothecia. But tomorrow Rosanne Healy will tell us more about her recent studies of spore mats of ectomycorrhizal Psizaceles, and that's those as you see here on the photographs. Before I get into the main topic of today, I want to give you a short overview of the importance of this class. So, of course, as an early divergent lineage, it's very important for understanding character evolution within Psitomycotina. And also, recently, the biological activity and role of these fungi in ecosystems have been shown to be much more diverse and important than previously thought. The greatest diversity of species occur in temperate regions or at high elevations. Most species produce apothecia on soil, but many are substrate specialists, with those on dung and burnt ground as the dominating. They occur on plant debris where animals have urinated, on wood and leaves, and a special group are the bryosymbiotic that occurs on mosses, most commonly on small acrocarpious mosses. Until recently, most of the species that produce apothecia epigenously were thought to be saprobic, but an increasing number of studies using sequences from environmental sampling or root tips and morphotyping have shown that these are ectomycorrhizal symbiotic. And surprisingly, Psitomycetes have now also been found as foliar endophytes and endolycinic fungi. And in this study, using sequences from apothecia that were identified to species within the Painemataceae and sequences from cultures of foliar endophytes and endolycinic fungi, we were able to identify most of these two species or genus. I know you cannot see any of the names here, but what you should note is that the green names are foliar endophytes and the blue are endolycinic. So you can see they are distributed throughout the family, and they are distinct from those that are ectomycorrhizal. That's those that are in black bold, and also some newly discovered in this study are in red. In this study, focusing on the largest family, Painemataceae, we traced the evolution of trophic strategies known in the class. So what you can see here is that the ancestor of the class and the deeper branches are reconstructed to be saprobic, or most likely saprobic. That's the brown circles. The red circles are those that are reconstructed as ectomycorrhizae. So ectomycorrhizae has arisen within all the major all these major groups and likely 7 to 8 times independently within Pinaeomytaceae centrulato. And these are just some photos to show some of these newly discovered ectomycorrhizae. So Humaria, Genia, Otidia, and Tarsetta have been shown to be ectomycorrhizal. An obligate bryosymbiotic lifestyle has arisen only twice within the class. In the Octospora lineage, which is highly speciose with about 150 species, and in one species in Cheiloemia sclerotiorum. These are considered to be parasitizing the rhizoids. Recently, a severe pathogen was discovered to be a member of the Psitomycetes, Phymatoticopsis omnivora, or also called root rot pathogen. It's only known as an asexual mitosporic morph, and for a long time it was thought to be various species of Basidiomycetes. But here we use multiple sequences to show that it's a member of the Ricinaceae. And it's causing severe damages to crops throughout its range, and it's capable of infecting more than 2,000 species of dicots. So within the class, there are about 1,700 currently accepted species, 184 genera, 15 families, but only a single order, the Pisaceles. So the goal of this study is to produce phylogeny of the class to be able to define orders that better reflect the phylogenetic relationships among the families. And I've listed some questions that I think we should also discuss: taxon sampling and selected gene regions. And also I think we should think about when does a single branch justify or represent a new genus or family? Is there an inflation of monotypic genera in the class? To robustly resolve the deeper branches in the class, Xianghua Wang and I compiled multiple sequences from these studies that I have listed down in the corner, with the aim of getting a combined data set of these 4 gene regions. So this skeleton tree you see here includes 167 species, 81 genera, which is about half of the known genera, and all families except one. I will get back to that one later. And as you can see, 3 main lineages were resolved, A, B, and C, and confirming recent results, the Pinaeomytase node for Pinaeomytase centro stricto was highly resolved. And the 10 lineages within that family shown in green were also highly supported. One additional lineage was added, the Alourina lineage. The lineages you see in red are members of Pinaeomytase that we have excluded from the family because they were more closely related to the Ascodesmidaceae and Glacialaceae. This data set still includes a lot of missing data. So what we will aim for in the study is to try to fill out the gaps and also add critical taxa to try to get better support. Right, so the one family that we have not, or actually I should say that we got the same topology with this restricted number of species, and we still have all the genera included, but the support value was slightly lowered for some of the deeper branches. For example, the B clade, the support value went now below 70%. The one family that we didn't sample or include here was the Castanellacea because of missing data. But using a large subunit and small subunit of the ribosomal DNA, it has been shown to be an independent lineage within this larger clades of B and C. It's a peculiar, it's a monotypic family with a monotypic genus, Castanella venalis, and It's a peculiar fungus. It produces these very tiny apothecia that are born on a very thin subiculum, so on soil. So it looks almost more like a resupinate basidiomycete. And it's only known from the type locality in Finland and one collection from New Mexico. But I think it's simply overlooked. It has 2 or multiple nuclei in the spores, which supports its placement in the bee lineage. I'm very sorry about these trees. It's not possible to connect my computer. No. Okay. The Ricinaceae and Calliciphaceae are highly supported as a monophyletic group in this study. And that's interesting because both of these families include plant parasitic species. Only one other plant parasitic species is known in the Sarcosomataceae, and that's Urnula craterium in the C lineage. Calliciphaceae was recently described as a monotypic family for a monotypic genus, Callicipha. But recently, an forgotten Callicipha species was recollected. It was described from North Africa, and it has now been found in Italy and Spain. And it was then described as a new genus, Callistoschypha, based on ribosomal DNA, differences in pigment, and as supposed associations with eucalyptus. Callicipha is a temperate alpine species, and its anamorph is pathogenic on coniferous seeds. In earlier work, the Pissacales were segregated based on ascostructure. So Le Gall, she segregated 2 groups, those with thin-walled asci with terminal opercula, and those with thick-walled asci with thick and often eccentric opercula. And this latter group she recognized as the suboperculate discomycetes. Refi later recognized this group as a Sarcosiphenae, a suborder, and the rest of the order in the suborder Piscinae. Here, including protein-coding genes, the Sarcosiphenae is highly supported as a monophyletic group, and it's also supported by several morphological characters. And apart from those that Refi already noted, this group is supported by spores with multiple nuclei and a special type of pore plug. Kimbrough added a 3rd suborder to the class, the Pioneminae, for highly reduced apothecial forms. For species, for genera such as Ascodesmis, Alutoascus, and Pionema. And that's those in green. And so clearly, based on molecular data, this suborder is polyphyletic. There are some morphological characters that support these 3 lineages. A close relationship between the Ascobalaceae and Piscaceae is supported by an amyloid reaction of the asci, which is absent from the rest of the families. However, the A clade is not supported with these data, and based on Bayesian analysis, these 2 families are supported as successive sister species, with the Piscaceae being the most basal. The number of nuclei in the spores have been found to be a fairly constant characters for the families. And so I marked here with colors for the families the number of nuclei. So you can see that the A clade has 1 nuclei in the spores, and it's also present in most of the C lineage. But also in the Calliciphaceae that are nested in the B clade. Otherwise, the B clade has 2 to multiple nuclei, and multiple nuclei is also found in the Sarcosiphenae. There are exceptions to these numbers, and a genus was recently described, Octosporopsis, which is shown here with 2 nuclei in the spores, And it's shown to be closely related to members in the Painemataceae, the Octospora lineage, so those moss parasites. Ascoseptal poor ultrastructure support the higher level relationships to a certain degree. And this is work by Kimbrough and co-workers that he summarized in the first international Ascomycete workshop in 1994, published it. And I have marked here also with colors the families, the different types of septal pore plug. The most simple type is found in the Pisiaceae with these convex and biconvex thin bands. In Ascobalaceae, the pore plug is more elaborate, but still different from the rest of the order. In the B lineage, those species that have been studied, they have identical type of pore plugs. These dome or cone-shaped plugs with V-shaped striations. The same is the case for the Sarcosiphenae. It also has a special pore plug with V-shaped striations. But when we get into the Painemataceae sensulator, where the situation is more complicated, the pore plug are also more variable. There are other characters that support these groups, such as excipulum structure, excipulum hairs, presence or absence of excipulum hairs, and carotenoids. And in this study, we traced the evolution of the production of carotenoids. So what you can see here is that the ancestors of the class and the A, B, and C lineages did most likely not produce carotenoids, which then evolved at least 4 times within the class in distantly related taxa. But most of those species that produce carotenoids are the Sarcosiphaceae, and then in the Painemataceae, where the Painemataceae sensu stricto, the ancestor, was reconstructed to produce carotenoids. This, the production of carotenoids has then subsequently been lost in the family. Rounding up my talk, I want to focus on these 4 lineages that we excluded from the family Painemataceae because they were more closely related to the Ascodesmidaceae and the Glacialaceae. We did not assign these lineages to any families or describe new families because the relationships among them are either conflicting and without support. But I want to focus on or talk a little bit about the Bobovia lineage here, which is highly supported as a sister group to the Ascodesmidaceae, and it could be, those taxa could be included in that family. Those represent the most reduced apothecial forms within the C lineage, such as Ascodesmis, that you can see here in the photo. They just produces a bundle of asci with a number of cells at the bottom or at the base. We added 1 new genus to the Bobovia lineage, and that's Calachion. The placement of that genus has been uncertain. It's also a highly reduced species, and it's here forming a strongly supported monophyletic group with Crupotus. It produces apothecia that are less than 0.5 millimeter and are light colored on soil, so it's really hard to spot in the field. Otherwise, many of these taxa are occurring on dung. This is only the 3rd find of this species. And interestingly, microscopically, it has really huge spores that are highly ornamented. And as you can see, the asci have opercula. So it seems there are several options for proposing new orders in the class. For the A lineage, Ascobalacea and Pisiaceae, it would be Pisiaceales. For the B lineage, we could use the order Tuberalis that was previously used for exclusively Hybrigeas and truffle taxa. And for the C lineage, we could have one or two orders, the Paeonymatalis and the Sarcosaphalis. But with the current data, we don't have support for the A and B lineages. So we need, especially to fill in missing gene regions to get a complete 4-gene data set, I think, to get the bootstrap values up, and also add additional critical genera or species. And I hope we will be able to accomplish this within the next couple of months. For the future, I think there's a need to sequence multiple genes, also for rarely collected, enigmatic, or newly described genera or species, and especially to coordinate sequencing to utilize the same part of the gene regions. With this, I want to thank these people for use of their photographs, and thank you for your attention.